This is the plaintiff, Charles Sneeden. He says he brought his car into a shop for an oil change, and one of the employees backed into his Audi A4, denting it. The defendant was hired by the shop to repair the car, and the shoddy repairman ruined his transmission. Now he has to pay $3,583.42 in new repairs, and is suing for just that today. This is the defendant, Ken. He says he's known as the magician in the car repair world because he can fix anything and make it better than new. The plaintiff's car was backed into. He replaced the front end, and then a few weeks later, the guy comes in complaining about the transmission and demands he fix that for free. Hello. This car has over 131,000 miles on it. He had nothing to do with the transmission, and he isn't fixing anything. He's accused of making shoddy repairs.
All parties, please use your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff brought his car in for a simple oil change, and the dumb employee backed into his Audi. The defendant says he fixed the car, and the guy is scamming him for an unrelated transmission problem. It's the case of we have transmission, we have lawsuit.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Charles Sneeden, you are suing Ken.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
don't want me to mention your last name or your the name of your business. You're the owner, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for $3,583.42 in transmission repair plus towing costs and some other charges. Why? What's going on?
Well, it started out where my car got backed into at Firestone, and he handles all
Your
of...
car got
Backed in, yeah, somebody backed up that works there, backed in, called the customer's car into mine car.
backed another customer's car into your car when you were at Firestone doing
Yes.
business.
Yes, and
Okay.
so they contract all of their work that they don't do to the defendant.
So because Firestone's employee was at fault, they send the work to you.
Yes, ma'am. They sent it to him, and I had no problem. I was like, all right, well, whatever it takes to get it done quick. And they said that, got it back. Its radiator was out fluid.
I'm sorry.
It was out fluid out of the radiator.
Can you just say leaking instead
Leaking,
of the
no
word
problem.
you used,
Sorry
Charles?
about that.
Okay.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Don't I make you nervous a little bit? Like that you would... All right, so the radiator, what did he do to it?
Well, the radiator is one of the things that was replaced because there was a lot of parts broken on it, I guess. That's what I was told.
So is the radiator something you replaced?
Yes, it was.
All right, so according to you, the radiator was leaking fluid?
Yes.
Okay, and so what did you do?
It was leaking out of the fitting that, it's on the radiator, and I talked to him and told him that it was happening, and he told me that he would tighten it and it would be fine, and okay, so then no problem. And when I got it back after that, it was doing the same thing. It was, should have been replaced for a warranty because of the defaultive part, But then when he did that, because of it running low, I was told.
Because what was running low?
Because the fluid on the transmission. Because
What does that have to do with your radiator?
Well, the tranny fluid flows through there and to cool it off and to send it back to the transmission.
Let me hear from you on what he just said.
He is correct in the fact that the transmission fluid runs through the radiator. The discrepancy lies. The plaintiff called me. He did say, I believe I have a leak. And I said, did you take it back to Firestone? Because, again, I'm the middleman. He said, no. So I then went ahead. I called Ian, which is the store manager of the Bristol Firestone, where it came from to begin with. And I said, Ian, this is what's going on. He's complaining of a leak. I don't know what to do here because, again, I've been instructed by Firestone themselves, do not get in the middle of a customer. It's our customer. We will take care of it.
Okay.
That was from day one. Ian had kind of an answer for me that the plaintiff didn't like too much. He says, I'm really crazy busy. I'm right in the middle of this giant tire sale. I can take care of it. Take a look at it next Saturday. I called the plaintiff back, explained it. He says, that's absolutely not good enough. I can't wait that long. So I said, look, as a favor to you, get the car down here. I will put it on the lift, and I will check it for you.
You put it on the lift, and what did you find?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing was leaking?
Out of the radiator. Everything else, everything. The turbocharger was leaking oil. The transmission itself was leaking oil. The transmission lines were leaking oil.
And you deny that conversation took place?
I deny part of it took place. He did tell me that he didn't say the radiator wasn't leaking. He actually said I tightened the fitting so it and then it stopped.
Did he ever acknowledge to you that the radiator was leaking?
He said it was. He said that it was leaking.
Did you ever
and then
say
I
to him
tightened
the
it.
radiator was leaking?
No, ma'am.
All right, so according to you, you told him that everything else was leaking
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that he really had to deal with Firestone to
Yes, ma'am.
approve. All right, and then what happens to the car?
Well, when I talked to Firestone, they said that since if it was the radiator, it's under warranty. It should be under warranty through him because he's the one that put it in. He said he
Did you
tightened
bring the car to
radiator.
him again after
Yes.
the tire sale?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and when he brought the car to you again,
He kept insisting that the radiator was leaking, the radiator's leaking, the radiator's leaking. Now, by that time when it came in, one of his major leaks was corrected. He had a new turbocharger installed, who knows where.
by
but somewhere.
somebody else.
By
Right,
somebody,
yes.
to fix that leak. So
Okay.
I do see that he was making an attempt to fix some of the leaks.
Okay.
And at that point, I says, look, the radiator is not leaking. I said, the best I can do for you, if you're insistent on this happening, the best I can do, I can take the 2 transmission lines off the radiator, I can ensure the fittings are tight, and I can put the transmission lines back on the radiator. His were both tight. We put the lines back on once we ensured they were tight and sent the car on its merry way.
So you take his car back again after this?
I take his car back again. Here's what happens. I said, what is going to make you happy? He says, replace the radiator. I said, but here's my problem with that. If I call Audi up and I say, hey, I need a warranty radiator, and they say, well, why? And I say, oh, because the customer wants it replaced. They won't warranty a radiator that nothing's wrong with, nor will any parts store. They won't cover something and they won't eat something that is not damaged. So I said, you know what? To make you happy and to make you leave me alone, I will buy the
What was
radiator.
he doing? Was he stalking you? Like,
Hey,
well,
3 times a day.
he was calling you 3 times a day?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
3 days in a row.
Was he telling you there's nothing wrong with the radiator, yes or no?
So if the radiator was leaking before the car came in, and the guy fixes it, and then he leaves, the owner leaves, and it's okay, but at some point later it starts leaking again, is the repair shop responsible?
Yes, because you go to get a repair so that way the problem is over. If the problem comes back soon after the repair.
How long after the repair?
I'd say usually a warranty is about a couple months.
Let's say there's not a warranty. How long?
There's no warranty, then just off the top of my head, it'd be about a couple months.
Really? It would be a couple of months that it would have to be good.
Yes, because you go into the repair shop, you expect them to do a complete job, and you expect them to fix the problem completely, and you shouldn't have to get it repaired that often.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
He said, no, he didn't say that. He said it was leaking when he originally, so there was something
Was
wrong.
he saying at this point there's nothing wrong with the radiator?
No, until he put the actual radiator in the final time, he did not say there was nothing
So
wrong
you
with
put in the radiator. Does he become a happy customer?
No.
Okay. When do you hear from him again?
It was about a week and a half after that.
And what did he say?
I need a new transmission. And I said, okay. And what would you like from me? He said, you're paying for it. And I said, why? And he said, oh, because the radiator was leaking. Mind you, the radiator was not leaking. It ruined my transmission, and now I need a new transmission, and you're going to give me a check for it.
All right. So what do you have from another mechanic?
He actually, he was pretty much wrote his diagnostics of the situation. They quote for the repair work needed to be done, and he also saw the leak on the
Okay.
radiator.
This doesn't have a company name on it. This document. It has absolute. It's just typing on a piece
Yeah,
of paper.
that's what he gives me. That's all his receipts look like. They're
How am I supposed to know that you didn't just do this on your computer? Like I need to have like, you know. Yeah, there's literally nothing from the other company, and that's important because this is your entire case. And if they're going to put I need to know they're putting their name on the line, accusing somebody of doing something. What does this say? This says transmission slipping due to lack of fluid multiple times. Customer stated that he had the radiator replaced. Radiator was still leaking after the repair. Well, they don't know that because they weren't there. They're parroting what you said. The radiator was replaced after being towed back to the garage that did the previous repairs. This person is saying what he told the person, because the person wasn't there, but he's saying you claimed that you couldn't fill the fluids properly. Did that happen, by the way?
It wasn't a properly thing. It was you have multiple other leaks, and it's at this point a dead issue.
Okay, but did you ever tell him I don't have tools to solve your problem short term or anything like that? Did he drive away from your place?
He did not. He actually sent his AAA to get it because he was not supposed to drive it because he had all these leaks.
And you had told him that?
Yes.
Right. The customer brought vehicle back to us. And were those leaks around the second time he brought it to you?
Yes, they were. The only one that was not around the second time
And did he drive it off the second time?
Yes.
So why would he have ruined your transmission as opposed to you have ruined your transmission?
The leak, there was no other leaks. I had it checked when it came back out here.
That's a
with
lie because you fixed one of the other leaks.
That leak was.
You have a car that is a 2003 Audi with 131,000 miles on it, and its blue book value is barely what you're suing for. But everything wrong with it is that gentleman's fault.
The turbo I already knew about. When I brought it to him to get fixed.
Then don't tell me that there are no other leaks. There were no other leaks. It was a radiator.
There was no transmission leaks.
Listen, if I even put to aside the fact that this is just typing on a piece of paper, how is it that if your car has multiple leaks, you're so busy trying to win that you're telling me, no, that was the only leak. No, there was no other multiple leak. No, but then when I point out to you that you've already told me that you fixed one of the other leaks in the interim, well, just that one, but no other, and then you tell this guy, whoever this is, that he told you I can't fill it properly, but let's assume that it's like you say, and he tells you that, stop driving the car. The guy tells you that you have multiple leaks, and between time 2 and time 3, a week and a half passes, and you're still driving it. You have a proof problem. You have an absolute proof problem that starts with a piece of paper that doesn't have a company name and ends with you driving it despite multiple leaks. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
So a lack of proof kills the plaintiff's case. Mr. Pecker-Snedden, what do you think about the judge's decision?
She really didn't listen to me, so I can't.
She did listen to you. Sure she did.
I said there was no transmission leaks, so, he can lie he wants. You know what? Good luck for his other customers. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you very much. No problem. Now comes Ken out of the courtroom. How do you feel? I got to do one thing. Hold this a minute. Okay, I'm going to fix you up. This has been bothering me the whole case.
The very first time I've tried in my entire life was today.
How do you feel about the judge's decision?
I think the judge's decision was fair. I believe that, again, I go above and beyond for all my customers. Anything that I could possibly do to make anybody happy and keep a customer, I will do by leaps and bounds.
Well, you sound like a nice guy, and he really kind of went overboard, huh?
This gentleman I believe he's just out looking for stuff for free, and I'm not the guy he's going to get it from.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, we get these cases all the time. So here's my advice. If you take your car to a repair shop and when you take it back, as soon as you notice there's any problem, contact the repair shop immediately. That way, you're documenting what happened.